Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Trevor and this is another episode of The Magic Lab, a series where I as a hobbyist will take you behind the scenes as I build a magic routine, test it in real performances, and then we'll break down what worked and what didn't. My formula for designing routines involves 8 ingredients, the first being the theme. So what is the theme? Well, I like to look at it as two different options. One, it can define who I am as a magician, maybe that night, or if that's my permanent character. So for example, if I want to go out and present myself as a gambler, then that would help me to design my costume, maybe the objects I'm using, and the overall setting or music. Or we can look at it as just the setting that we're in. So that's what I really prefer to do because I'm just me. I don't have a character. I'm just a hobbyist. So I like to look at it as if we're going out to a birthday setting or a sports game setting and try to define everything around that theme. Now we can start to think of anchors or objects to help us. For example, let's say for this week, I'm going to be going to a hockey game. So I'm going to think of objects that are common and start writing them down or brainstorming. So maybe a hockey puck, maybe a whistle. I'm thinking referee, maybe beer or sports kind of food, pretzels. So all these different things can help me to design my plots and also maybe use them as objects in the tricks and also inspiration for designing the routine. The second ingredient, the setting. Now, along with that comes more ideas for anchors and objects. But the setting isn't just a place we're going to be, it's all the factors involved in the atmosphere. Am I going to be sitting or standing? Is it formal? Is it informal? Is it up close? Is it parlor? Is it light? Is it dark in the room? Is it noisy? Is it quiet? Am I going to be surrounded by people? How are my angles? So you have to consider all of these different factors when creating your routine. In that setting, we'll start to think of more specific objects that we can use, like I previously gave an example of at the hockey game. The third ingredient, the effect. Now this is not the specific tricks. We're just not there yet. This part is where we start to come up with ideas of what impossible situations we want to happen in this world or routine that we've created. For example, do we want to do a prediction? Do we want to do a levitation? Do we want to do a vanish or a production, a teleportation, a transition, a transposition? Do we want to penetrate something? Do we want it to restore? Do we want an escape effect? These are all the different ideas that we need to consider. So for example, in the hockey scenario, I might have a puck be produced, or I might think of a hockey ticket instantly and visually changes into a selected card. The fourth ingredient, the structure. I always follow the same pattern. First, I like to have an opener that's quick, it's visual, it's eye-catching and engaging. Second, a middle routine. Now this could be 1 or 2 tricks or 3 if you want, depending on the length of your routine. But I want this to be more of a story-based, more engaging and interacting with the spectators. A lot of times I'll use props and just try to get as many people involved in it as possible. And finally, the closer. This has to be the strongest of the tricks. I personally at least like to make sure that the magic happens in their hand or that some impossible object is given out at the end. The fifth ingredient, the cohesiveness or the glue. This is where we pick the actual individual tricks, but this is also where the routine becomes a routine because they are no longer individual tricks, but one cohesive storyline. So just for an example, let's say I produce a puck. Now that puck might go on to be involved in the second and third trick somehow, or you might use a running joke that connects all of the tricks based on the overall theme. The sixth ingredient, the method and handling. This is the portion where we're actually getting our hands in there, the workshopping of the routine. Now we first need to consider how to mechanically connect the opener, middle, and the closer, and the best way to execute each individual trick. Now this might mean we use a sleight or a skill, maybe gimmicks, glue, tape, rope, etc. I mean, it goes on and on. Whatever we need to do to cohesively connect these tricks into a routine. Now, for example, if I needed to use a false cut, I wouldn't want to just pick any false cut. I'd want to know, well, do I need to be standing or sitting? If I'm at the table, a tabled false cut would be most appropriate. So we need to have motivational actions. The seventh ingredient, setup and pocket management. This is extremely important because we need to know exactly how everything is set up, which also aids in how to quickly reset. Also, we talked about motivational action. If something's in my right pocket, I need a reason to go to my right pocket if I want to steal or ditch something. The eighth and final ingredient, the plot or the storyline. So now that we know that each of these individual tricks mechanically work together, we now need to start thinking of the individual plots to these tricks that make them intriguing, right? We need a hook line. So we need to consider the overall theme, which in this week is going to be hockey or a hockey game. So now the first trick, we produce a puck, for example. And the second trick, maybe we have two jokers act as referees to find a card. And then the third trick, maybe we have a penalty or a clarity/mystery box for a folded card. So you see each of the tricks now has an intriguing hook or storyline that still falls under the same theme of the hockey game. All right, so let's build this routine. So the first thing I like to do is get out a piece of paper and start jotting down my ideas. So the first thing I did was the theme, hockey game. So I want to do something hockey or sports related. Second, I start thinking about the setting. It's going to be a little colder, so I'll have maybe a jacket on. There will be table space there, so I can use that if I want. It's going to be loud. It's going to be light. So those are a few factors that I want to consider. And then I want to start jotting down these different objects or anchors. So like I'd mentioned earlier, thinking of a whistle, I'm thinking of ice, I'm thinking of a hockey puck. I'm just kind of putting this all down on paper to start the process. One of the things that really got me frustrated in the beginning was picking an opener because I kind of broke my own rule. I had a specific trick in mind that I wanted to do, and it just wouldn't mesh with the middle and the end. So I kept trying and just realized I just have to move on. That's why I want to have as many options as possible. So initially I wanted to come out with a card box, open it up and say, we won't need that box anymore. And I could go on to show all the cards and go to my next tricks. But if you know that trick, the problem is there's a ditch involved, and also more importantly, it takes my joker out. And I wanted the jokers, those are my referees for the following effect. So I just had to ditch that idea, and that's okay. That's why we're doing this process. So I settled on Blue Illusion, and this is at Mark Mason or JB Magic. This was awesome, and it fit really well. So I bring out a box and realize that it's blue. And I just expressed that, man, I really wanted my red cards because I want to have some penalties committed against these players. And that's the opposing team, the red team. That's their colors. So I go to open the box and I start to take the cards out and realize, oh, well, the cards are red. I must have just mixed them up. But I can fix that. And with just a flick of the wrist, the box instantly turns red as well. Just so cool and visual, and gets us right into the performance. Then I take them out and I spread through and I kind of laugh and go, huh, that's interesting. Do me a favor, just in looking at the faces, say, just name any one of the players you like. So they say a 2 clubs or whatever they like. I take that 2 out, I turn it over, and it has a blue back. And I say, what's interesting about this, and I set that down or put it in their hands, is this was all just an illusion. You see, there was never a blue box, and there was never any blue cards. And I go through and show them there's no blue cards. And I say, even your selected card. And they turn it over and it's now red. So that's just a kind of a great quick opener. Now for my second trick, I chose what's most commonly known as Chicago Opener. If you're not familiar with this, for example, go to penguinmagic.com and instantly download Red Hot Mama as taught by Oz Perlman. It's one of the older effects that I first learned, and it's awesome. You'll love it. I guarantee it. Before I move into the second trick, I'm first going to do a little cleanup and more backstory. So I say I'm going to remove 2 cards from the pack, and these are the most important guys on the ice, the referees, jokers. Now, they're going to be guarding, and I'll take this out, the penalty box. Now, I chose to go with this penalty box, or Folded Card to Mystery Location by John Kennedy, the Mystery Box 2, just because of its size. It fit the venue. It can go in my pocket and go with me. I would have definitely chose David Regal's Clarity Box, though, if I was going to be going to somebody's house or I could carry a bigger item. It just fit because of the clear box. There's also kind of an idea of fob, but that's more of a everyday carry. So I think this fit the best. Now, going into the effect, I would say I need somebody to pick one of the players from the other team, because this is their color, to commit a penalty. They can pick anyone they want. It doesn't matter. That's what's so nice about this trick. And as they're looking at the card or choosing, we would talk maybe about people's favorite penalty or worst penalty they ever saw, and just engage in conversation, which gives me more ideas for my subject matter next time or storyline. Now, I'll say you can place that anywhere you want. They call stop anywhere they want, and we replace that card right there. Now, I go on to say it's amazing how good these referees are at spotting penalties. They can just see it instantly, and I'll show you what I mean. From their perspective, you know, these cards don't all look the same. Even though we think they look the same, they can spot a penalty instantly. And right there, I'll have penalty written on that card. And if we turn that over, the 10 of spades, and that'll be the selected player. Now I'll say I'll take that 10 and we'll place it in the penalty box. And we'll try this, let's try this again. This time I'll pick somebody just a little further away for the motivation of kind of picking a card this way. And I'll say, anytime I go through the cards, they'll be different. So I'll just go through the cards like so, and then you call stop. So anytime, they'll all be different. And call stop. They call stop, I show them the card. Perfect. You got that in mind? I'll set that down and say, now watch, we'll try this one more time. If they just look through the cards or players, you'll see that penalty card. Oh yeah, I forgot. That's a pretty small penalty box. It only fits one player. And these guys are so quick sometimes we don't even see it. So I let them turn that penalty card over, and of course, it's the second selected card. So great second routine. And what's great about this is I've got nothing to clean up at this point. I'm just ready to go into third effect with a clean deck. Now for the third trick. I cannot wait to perform this one. I think the storyline is so good and the objects or anchors fit the theme so well. This is the Lucky Coin from Card College Volume 1. Do not underestimate this one. It is excellent. So I'm going to start off and we can shuffle, cut, it doesn't matter. I don't want to waste time here. We're going to have them ultimately just cut the cards and mark that spot. And I'm going to introduce the hockey puck, the miniature hockey puck. These are available in bulk at Amazon. They're cheap, so I think they're going to be a great gift to give away, especially to kids. I'm also going to introduce a whistle, but I'm going to disengage that whistle. I don't want to get in trouble and I don't want to disrupt the game or people. Plus, it might add some comedy. We'll see. I'm going to dub somebody as the referee and say, I want to show you how difficult it is for a referee to actually call a penalty. We think it's easy because they do it all the time, but let's see how you do. Now I'll say, let's go ahead and take a look at who your penalty player is and who you cut to. Now they'll take that card and they'll take a look at it. I'll turn away even, it doesn't matter. Now this next part, again, this part doesn't matter. Either you come up with whatever you like. We just need to return the card and we get to guess. That's about what, I don't know, 35 down maybe? I like that because now they have a clear area of where to locate their card. And I say, you know, it is not on top and it's not on the bottom, so I can show those cards clearly there too. We'll spread those out and they'll go through with the puck and drop it anywhere they want. Now first, I might have them say, let's see how you do, let's warm up and go ahead and give it a whistle, call that penalty, and then nothing happens. Maybe that'll get a laugh, and then hopefully the next part goes well. I'm not making fun of them, I just think it'll be a funny moment. So to speed this up, we're just gonna say they dropped it on those three. Now we can go through this several times, but then we can land on maybe 3 cards. Again, it doesn't matter how many. You can do this any way you want. They land on 1 at the end and say, that's the penalty card, right? And those are not it, and they say no. Now I'll say, here's what's amazing. I didn't tell you, it doesn't matter really which card you picked because this was more of a prediction. And you've been holding on to my prediction the entire time. I didn't tell you that. I put a prediction underneath that puck. And so I said, go ahead and take a look and show it around. Now the misdirection of them showing that around is amazing. So they show that around and they see this little 9 of hearts. And I mean, that's shocking, right? That's great. And we'll just set that down and move on. Hopefully somebody's going to say, well, did I get the right card? Or I'm going to address it and say, you know, let's just leave that as a mystery. The night will be better. Everybody, it'll be more intriguing. And if everybody's, oh no, I want to see, well, you did get the right card. Good job. And you know, like I said, that's a great trick and a good storyline. And then we can move into our final trick of the night. It's time for the final trick. And I'm going to have somebody pick out any player they want, the one most likely to get ejected from a game. accept a court card or a face card because I want them to sign it, so I want it to be very visible. Once they do, they return it, we shuffle, we cut, we do what we do, and I say I'm going to go on to do something that most magicians don't and let you shuffle the cards. And as soon as they go to grab it and shuffle, I'll say, that was perfect, great job. Okay? Then we move on to the next and say, you can actually go ahead and shuffle them, it's fine, I was just joking. Now, once they're done and happy, I say, you'll notice that penalty box has been sitting there the entire time and I haven't gone anywhere near it. And those jokers or referees have been guarding it the entire time as well. For the first time, we'll take a look inside and we see a folded up red card. We take it out and say, what I can understand is how I got the prediction right. But what I still can never understand is how your signature got on this card. And when you turn that around, I mean, that is just an amazing moment. And it's a souvenir to hand out. So please let me know in the comments what you think about each individual trick and also as a whole routine, maybe the plots and theme as well, and what ideas you have and what constructive criticism you have for me. I would love to hear it. I think it's a great routine. I'm going to try it out and we'll come back later and talk about it. The routine is ready, but building it is one thing. Performing it is another. Don't miss the next episode where we perform it live and break down what worked and what didn't. I'll see you next time on The Limitless Project.